Clearly a client relationship is vitally important, but how do you maintain a good client relationship?
I think in order to continue and build that sort of thing, you need to basically be in with the company even when there isn't work going on. I think a lot of consultants will be called in when a job appears, and I think it's up to that consultant to actually build that brand, as it were, build the relationship with the client in terms of always being there, going in to see them, seeing what they're thinking of in the future, and maybe having an input at a much earlier stage than at the point which is typically seen as a job's coming up, we need a consultant on board. And I think in building that will create longevity, it will create relationship. Hopefully relationship will be with the company as opposed to with the project manager within the company, who may move on at any time, and then all of a sudden that relationship is cold. And I think that's important in terms of building a whole client base. I mean, it's really going back to the whole company process of how you build your client base.
We talked about being brought in quite late into assignments. Do clients sometimes see consultants as people who can just merely facilitate a process, or are they using you genuinely to help them think through things in a new way, to help them see things they perhaps couldn't have done on their own?
I think there's different types of clients. There's the client who believes he knows as much as any AV consultant because he might have a smart TV at home. And then there's the client who is aware of his limitations, and he's in effect a project manager as opposed to, a person who knows a little bit about things and is aware that little knowledge could be dangerous. And they're the sort of clients you want to build a relationship with because they understand you for what you are. The ones who suddenly are in with the manufacturers and say, oh, hello consultant, this is what I want, this and this, and you then have to persuade them that, well, that's not really going to work, but they're intent on it because they've seen something. That's the dangerous area.
How difficult is it to think ahead, this so-called future-proofing? Is that an almost impossible task?
I don't think it's impossible. I think there needs to be more, again, going back to relationships, of a relationship built between the consultant and the manufacturers to actually glean that information. And I think we're in an area where we need to persuade the manufacturers that we are not a danger to them, that we're not going to go off with their information and sell it out, whether that's by signing NDAs or whatever. You build that relationship, you know what they're planning in the future, because future-proofing is very important in terms of clients spending large amounts of money, and they then don't want to have to start changing it in 3 years because, say, a new director's walked in and said, I've seen this, I want that. And I think the way to do that is for the consultant to be in with the manufacturers, again, build a relationship, find out what they're thinking about, so at least you can moot ideas and say, have you thought of this, have you thought of that, and this is where things are going.
Do you find clients are overeducated?
No, I believe clients believe they're overeducated, which is the difference, really.
Is this when the manufacturers have got to them and supposedly given them information they think is knowledge when in fact it's
absolutely
merely marketing spin?
Yes, and also I think the use of technology in the home has given clients who are becoming younger and younger a perception of what they believe is available and what they believe they know. And in terms of the audio-visual equipment arena, it's a vastly different arena to the home market. Although obviously the end use of that equipment is being dealt with by the home market, as in iPads and tablets and so on, because that's where the manufacturers are aiming for. That's what the end user knows, and it's good for them to be able to use what they know to work something that they don't know. It's when they think they know how that works, the don't knows, that again there's a bit of an imbalance.